The wild thing is like, for those of us who had to unlearn it, it just takes longer to get there.
So we've all heard about the model minority myth, which is that Asian Americans keep their head down, work hard, and sort of don't make a lot of fuss. But at the same time, that's a stereotype that doesn't necessarily work for everyone. So how has the model minority myth impacted your career journey, and in what ways have you had to push back against it to get where you are today?
Model minority myth is one that I've long felt was one of these sort of, I'm going to call it like a backhanded compliment kind of constructs that exist within our society, and specifically with respect to the Asian American community, which is that your model. So that's like, that sounds good, right? Like, who doesn't want to be model? And for me, certainly growing up, I always wanted to be the model, fill in the blank, the model student, the model daughter, the model, worker. But I think that what is the unspoken piece of the model minority myth is that is not just, hey, you're great because you keep your head down and you don't, sort of make waves, but it's keep your head down, don't make waves. And what we all know very well is that oftentimes those who find themselves in leadership positions did not get there by keeping their head down and not making waves. Oftentimes the way that you find your way into progressively more senior positions is that you are brave and you are risk-taking and you are willing to speak your mind. And those are things that are not necessarily compatible with the model minority myth. So for me, growing up, I had to unlearn a lot of the things that I had learned about the right way to succeed. Because earlier on in your life, the right way to succeed is to comply, and then you start to have to force yourself out of that behavior. You have to remind yourself, actually, this isn't the way that I'm going to succeed.
So how did you unlearn some of those things?
You start to, I think, develop a certain type of pattern recognition. You see the people around you who are succeeding. You see the people who get the best assignments, the ones who speak up for themselves and get the plum project or the promotion or whatever it is. And if you're really good at spotting it, and if you are willing to take that risk, you just sort of like step out of your comfort zone and just try it out. And the more you try and see success coming through speaking up, the more you realize that that's actually the path to success.
So how have expectations of how Asians should behave in the workplace because of this model minority myth shaped your leadership style?
Having undone a lot of that mindset has gotten me to where I am today. I oftentimes think about it with respect to the teams that I lead. Any sort of bias that you come into in the workplace as a leader, you really have to really systematically undo that and encourage people to show up as their authentic selves. Mm-hmm. And why have different people there who represent different points of view if you're not going to allow people and encourage people to share those things? That's how you unlock the value on behalf of your organization. So as a leader, it becomes more important for me than to draw that out and to encourage that type of more open and authentic dialogue within my teams.
As a CMO, you're expected to be loud and bold and have breakthrough ideas and shake up the status quo. That's often, however, in direct contrast with how Asian people are expected to behave in the workplace. So how did you sort of navigate that to become a successful CMO?
My upbringing, specifically as an immigrant who wasn't born in this country, really taught me a lot about the value and the importance of communication. And oftentimes for me, where I find my stride in meetings in the workplace is in my ability to tell a story. When you grow up as somebody who didn't speak the language, who needed to cut through and figure out ways that you could connect with different groups of people who were very different from you. And for me, what that meant was I learned how to tell stories. And that I didn't know that was leading me eventually down this path of becoming a CMO, but boy, am I glad that it did.
What do you wish that people in the industry or the workplace understood about the nuances between Asian cultures, and how can we do a better job of not treating people of Asian heritage as sort of part of this monolith.
Throughout my career, I've met so many members of this community who absolutely defy any kind of stereotype that you could possibly come up with. I wish that I could just sort of point out all of those people and shine a light on all of them. But the reality is that, like, it's not about a person who defies stereotypes. It's about how everybody defies the stereotypes in some way or another. You know, as a leader, as a colleague, as an ally, if we can draw that out, if we can draw out the unique human qualities in each other, I mean, we would just be so much of a better society overall for Asians, but for all people.